The Iran-America Conflict Explained, 2026, title, The Iran War. Explained how America and Iran reached the brink of disaster. What if one single conflict could drag the entire world into a new era of war? What if rising tensions between the United States and Iran suddenly exploded into a direct military confrontation? For decades, the relationship between America and Iran has been defined by hostility, threats, sanctions, proxy wars, and political tension. But in 2026, the situation became more dangerous than ever before. Missiles were launched. Military bases were put on high alert. World leaders rushed into emergency meetings. Oil markets reacted instantly. And millions of people around the world began asking the same question: are we witnessing the beginning of a major war? In today's video, we'll break down what really happened, why tensions escalated, what role Donald Trump played, how Iran responded, and what could happen next. This is the complete story of the 2026 Iran crisis. Chapter 1. A conflict decades in the making. To understand today's crisis, we need to go back nearly half a century. In 1979, Iran experienced a revolution that completely transformed the country. The Shah of Iran, who was supported by the United States, was overthrown. A new Islamic government took power. Relations between Washington and Tehran collapsed almost overnight. Soon after, Iranian students seized the U.S. Embassy in Tehran and held dozens of Americans hostage for 4 days. The event shocked America. From that moment forward, distrust became deeply rooted on both sides. Over the following decades, tensions only increased. The United States accused Iran of sponsoring militant groups throughout the Middle East. Iran accused America of interfering in its affairs and attempting to weaken the country. Neither side trusted the other. Both viewed each other as major threats. One of the biggest sources of tension has always been Iran's nuclear program. Iran insists that its nuclear activities are peaceful and intended for energy production and scientific research. The United States and several allies have repeatedly expressed concern that Iran could eventually develop nuclear weapons. These fears led to years of sanctions and diplomatic negotiations. In 2015, a major agreement known as the Iran nuclear deal was signed. The agreement placed restrictions on Iran's nuclear activities in exchange for sanctions relief. For a while, tensions appeared to cool, but that would not last. Chapter 3. Trump's first presidency. When Donald Trump became president, he took a much harder stance against Iran. In 2018, the United States withdrew from the nuclear agreement. Trump argued that the deal was flawed and failed to stop Iran's long-term ambitions. New sanctions were imposed. Economic pressure increased dramatically. Iran's economy suffered. Tensions rose throughout the region. Then came one of the most dramatic moments in modern U.S.-Iran relations. In January 2020, the United States killed Iranian General Qasem Soleimani in a drone strike. The strike shocked the world. Iran vowed revenge. Many experts feared a full-scale war. Although direct conflict was avoided at the time, the relationship deteriorated even further. After 2020, the conflict entered a new phase. Instead of direct warfare, both sides engaged in what many analysts called a shadow war. Cyber attacks, covert operations, regional proxy conflicts, intelligence battles, attacks on shipping routes, military incidents involving allied groups. The Middle East became increasingly unstable. Every few months, a new crisis emerged, and every time, observers wondered whether the next incident would finally trigger a direct confrontation. Chapter 5. Escalation in 2026. Fast forward to 2026. The region was already under immense pressure. Several ongoing conflicts had created a highly volatile environment. Political leaders were facing intense domestic pressures. Military forces were operating in close proximity. One mistake could lead to disaster. Then tensions suddenly intensified. Reports emerged of military operations, missile launches, retaliatory actions, and emergency security measures across the region. international media outlets began issuing breaking news alerts around the clock. World leaders urged restraint. Financial markets reacted immediately. Energy traders feared disruptions to oil supplies. The world was once again watching the Middle East. Chapter 6. Why Iran Matters. Many people ask an important question: why does Iran matter so much? The answer lies in geography, resources, and influence. Iran sits in one of the most strategically important locations on Earth. It borders key waterways used for global trade. It possesses enormous energy resources. It influences political and military developments throughout the Middle East. Any conflict involving Iran has the potential to affect oil prices, global trade, international security, regional stability, financial markets. This is why governments around the world closely monitor every development. The United States has long maintained significant interests in the Middle East. These interests include protecting allies, maintaining freedom of navigation, countering terrorist threats, supporting regional stability, preventing nuclear proliferation. Successive American administrations have pursued these goals differently. Some favored diplomacy, others emphasized economic pressure, some relied heavily on military deterrence. But regardless of political differences, Iran has remained one of America's most significant foreign policy challenges. Chapter 8. The Role of Donald Trump. Donald Trump remains one of the most influential political figures in America. His approach toward Iran has always been considerably more aggressive than that of many other leaders. Supporters argue that strong pressure is necessary to deter threats. Critics argue that such policies increase the risk of conflict. Whenever tensions rise between Washington and Tehran, attention quickly turns to Trump's statements and actions. His comments can move financial markets, influence diplomatic discussions, and shape public perception. As the 2026 crisis unfolded, media organizations around the world closely analyzed every statement coming from political leaders connected to the conflict. Chapter 9. The Global Reaction. As tensions escalated, governments reacted rapidly. European leaders called for calm. Asian markets monitored developments closely. Middle Eastern nations prepared contingency plans. International organizations urged restraint. The primary concern was simple. No one wanted a regional conflict to become a global crisis. History has shown that wars can expand unexpectedly. Small incidents sometimes trigger much larger consequences. That possibility worried policymakers everywhere. Even before any large-scale war occurs, economic consequences can be severe. Investors hate uncertainty. Businesses hate instability. Energy markets react almost instantly to geopolitical risk. When tensions rise involving Iran, oil prices often increase because traders fear supply disruptions. Higher energy costs can affect transportation, manufacturing, food prices, consumer spending, economic growth. This means that even people living thousands of miles away can feel the effects. Chapter 11. The Military Balance. The United States possesses one of the most powerful militaries in human history. Its technological capabilities, global reach, and defense spending are unmatched. Iran, however, has spent decades developing strategies specifically designed to counter stronger opponents. Rather than matching America tank for tank or aircraft for aircraft, Iran has invested heavily in missile systems, drone technology, naval capabilities, regional alliances, asymmetric warfare strategies. This creates a complex military environment where both sides possess strengths and vulnerabilities. Chapter 12. The Risk of Miscalculation. One of the greatest dangers is not necessarily intentional war. It is miscalculation. History is filled with examples of conflicts that began because leaders misunderstood each other's intentions. A missile launch, a military exercise, an intelligence failure, an accidental incident. Any of these events can trigger rapid escalation. This is why communication channels remain critically important during times of crisis. Chapter 13. Social media and information warfare. Unlike previous generations, modern conflicts unfold in real time online. Millions of people receive updates instantly. Videos spread within seconds. Rumors travel even faster. Governments, journalists, analysts, and ordinary citizens all compete to shape public perception. This creates a challenge. Not everything circulating online is accurate. False information can increase panic and confusion. Separating fact from fiction becomes more important than ever. Chapter 14. Could this become World War III? Whenever a major international crisis occurs, one phrase quickly begins trending online: World War III. But does the situation truly justify such fears? Most experts argue that while the risks are serious, a global war remains unlikely. Major powers generally recognize the catastrophic consequences of large-scale conflict. Diplomatic efforts continue even during periods of extreme tension. Nevertheless, the possibility of escalation cannot be completely dismissed. That is why governments remain vigilant. Chapter 15. What happens next? No one can predict the future with certainty. Several paths remain possible. Diplomatic negotiations could reduce tensions. International mediation could produce agreements. Economic pressure could influence political decisions. Military deterrence could prevent further escalation, or the situation could become more dangerous. Everything depends on the choices made by leaders in the coming weeks and months. The story of America and Iran is not a story that began yesterday. It is the result of decades of political conflict, strategic rivalry, military tension, and mutual distrust. The events of 2026 are simply the latest chapter in a relationship shaped by history. Whether this crisis eventually leads to peace, prolonged confrontation, or something far more dangerous remains uncertain. What is certain is that the world is watching closely. Because whenever two powerful adversaries stand on the edge of conflict, the consequences can extend far beyond their borders. And in today's interconnected world, what happens between America and Iran could affect all of us. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe, leave a like, and turn on notifications for more deep dive documentaries from Future Elite. Thanks for watching. Make it real.